Hello everyone. We will be seeing a short overview on Peoplesoft Financial Supply Chain Management System, and we will be having a small demonstration on showing up a general ledger sample transaction in Peoplesoft Financials. So now in Peoplesoft Financial Management System, Peoplesoft Financial Management System is basically an ERP application. What it does is it records our financial transactions from various PeopleSoft and non-PeopleSoft sources. It also processes our recorded data as per business logic and store the data in different logical related database objects. It also report the accounting transaction in detail or summary for different business reporting requirements. Now further, we will see what are the major features that it support. So, PeopleSoft Financial Management System, it's the major supported features are multi-entity, multi-GAAP, multi-currency, multi-language, multi-book, inter and intra-unit accounting, SUT, VAT, withholding, GST, fiscal, and statutory reporting. So these are all features being supported by FMS. So these are the major ones. There are many a part of these. Now let us see in FSCM application and see a quick demonstration on recording a transaction, processing, and reporting in PeopleSoft General Ledger. I have logged in as a super user VP1. Let us begin with entering and capturing a transaction. So I entered my business unit, which is defaulted here, BJY BUYG01. I leave the journal ID as next, which will allocate the next available journal number or opportunity. We can enter a journal ID also, and a journal date is defaulted with current system date. So I have chosen Feb next month date and I clicked on add. I will fill the transaction with all below mentioned values as defaulted. Clicked on lines and add account and enter amount for 2 units. Now try entering a journal which is unbalanced. As you can see, credit amount and debit amount are different over here. So we entered unbalanced entry. So let's say click on save and let us see if a system can validate. This is an erroneous entry. If I click on process, it should show an erroneous entry for us. I have edited the journal clicking on process. Editing the journal basically means validating the journal with respect to some predefined values. It takes some time to process. Now if you see this journal is edited and the status is A, which means errors. When I click on this link, it will take you to the error tab where it display what is the error. So it says journal is not balanced. So if you go to the totals tab, you will see the total debit and total credit are having difference of 1, which means journal went into an error. Now let us go to the links tab and make this journal balanced and attempt to edit again. Click on yes and again it reprocesses the journal entry and we'll see if it again get into an error or not. Now if you see the journal entry, it's V, which means it is a valid journal. This valid journal can be posted by selecting Post Journal and click on Process button and it will process the journal. And to click on OK and to click on Yes, it will take some time to reprocess. It's revalidating my the amount that I have entered. Now I've balanced the transaction so possibly it should go into success. Now if you see the journal status again it is P, which means the journal is posted. Now this was a simple journal entry where there were no approval in place. As we can see, source is CFO, which doesn't require any approval. Now let us try entering a journal for another source where the journal goes to the approver for approval and we will approve the journal before the journal get posted. So I'm entering a similar journal and with same period and a different time, this date and date this time. So click on add after that, entering the value. So I'm going to change the source to online under header tab. So this is source for which we have approval set up in system. Click on lines tab. Now this journal should go to approver once they approve the journal and submit for approval. I'm adding account and amount entry again. Click on net plus to add another entry for transaction and click on process and journal is saved. It will process and we'll see it again appear as valid or invalid. Now we appear, yeah, so it shows V. So for submitting journal, it can be done by clicking on the process tab and selecting submit journal, or you can use the process button to process it. You can use the approval button, approval tab as well itself. So I will select the process button from the lines tab for approval. It is processing, it takes some time to process. Now if you go to the approval tab, you will see that the journal has been submitted for approval. Now it has been sent to same or more approvals. It depends on the approval setup. So you need to click on approval history and it will show approval details with whom journal is pending. Now let us log in with the approver ID and try to attempt and approve this journal. In real time, this approval will be a different person who will be approving the journal before entry can be processed. Now I've logged in as an approver in FSCM. I'm entering this approver ID and password to which that journal has been submitted for approval. Now I've logged in as an approver in FSCM, the same approver to whom we sent the journal for approval. After after you logged in, you see a Peoplesoft homepage like this. We are seeing employee self-service, which is default homepage where the approver finds the tile named approvals, which I just clicking on it. Once I click on approvals tab, now the pending approval work center shows all kind of pending approvals that are sent to this approver. Now we go to our specific journal entry and we will filter and select the entry that has generated for this week. Now this is the entry which was submitted for approval. This is the account and the amount which we have seen. Now I need to validate and click on approve after adding comments. It will approve my journal and send status update to submitter. Now it will say request is approved. Let's wait, it takes some time. It should show that the request has been approved. Yeah, so the request has been approved. The same login that we have done for requesting the journal, you need to go back to the same and refresh the page. Since it is not reflecting, let me bring up the journal again from the search page. I'm entering the business unit PUY01 which I have created before, and I'm selecting the source online and then clicking on the approval tab. Now, and if you see in the approval tab that the journal is already approved by the approver, now this journal can be posted. Click on lines tab and select post journal and click on process. This will reprocess the journal. Just click on OK. This journal is posted. Now let us go and see in a delivered enquiry page to see data posted by our couple of journal. To see the data, we need to navigate to General Ledger, Review Financials, and Generals. On this page, you could add a new entry or view an existing inquiry. So here I'm going to add a new inquiry, let's say GP, and click on add. So we enter business unit and I will select the ledger for which journal was posted. I will specify the fiscal year and the period and click on search. Now if you see, we got two journals posted here, which we captured as a normal entry or CFO, and the other is the online which was approved by our approver and posted. So we could pull up the data for both the journals as a summary here in the delivered inquiry page. If you want detailed data for this journal, you could click any of the hyperlink and it will take you to the respective journals like this. So let us try searching one and see how it shows the detail. Now it is showing summarized and detailed information in general header and general lines with chart fields and amount. Now let us try running some reports. So we have seen processing the journal and capturing the data as per some delivered rules to validate. Now let us see how can we generate a report from the posted ledger information. So all this posted information for this specific business unit or any ledger attached to this business unit is stored in backend record that is called ledger. And we have many delivered reports that can be pulled up based on this record data that is ledger record. So we need to see that ledger record. So let us see one popular report known as trial balance report. So we navigate to general ledger, general reports and trial balance. I search with GP. Either you can use an existing run control ID or you could use a new run control ID to run a report. Now I am having an existing run control ID where everything is set up and fetch data for my business unit, for which I entered the generals. So I have specified business unit BUY01 and ledger local with fiscal year 2021 and period 2 for which I want the report. I could specify the currency as well for filtering or leave it blank to show all transactions. Whatever chart fields I want, I need to select here. So I have given a range here to fetch the account for which I have entered the data. Now after this, I need to click on run to run the report. Select the trial balance report. I have selected a default process to generate trial balance and hit OK. Now if you see, here is the process being scheduled and this is your process instance ID 230274. In process monitor, I would refresh and it will show the GLJ edit process which was run on previous page. I need to click on refresh to reflect it. Yeah, this is the GLJ edit -0 process. Application engine which is scheduled for processing. GLGP is a post process for general posting and GLS 7012 is the report we just triggered. Now I go to report manager page, click on administration tab. And this is our trial balance report. Now this is the report. This is the delivered report for trial balance and if it shows data from the two journals which we add containing three accounts. This is the first initial account for first journal. And 242 is the amount for the other journal and there is a total amount 342. Additionally, you can view your report from the query manager as well by navigating to reporting tools, query and query manager. Select on create a new query and specify record name as ledger and click on search. This is the record ledger data to which journal is posted. Select the field for which we want to fetch the report. So I am selecting few specific fields: fiscal year, accounting period, currency CD, and I will be selecting the base currency. Select some criteria by using this filter option, and here I specify my business unit value, which is PUY01. I click on OK. Here specify my ledger value, which is LOCAL, local. And I will also specify the fiscal year for which we did the transaction. We are doing all this to get the accurate transaction for which we entered. Now there, now I will add my accounting period as 02. Now the criteria is set for all the selected fields. Now click on View tab to view the SQL. This is system generated SQL. This is record for which data is processed, posted, and rest all is a criteria which is auto-generated by system for our query. Like we use Y01, which we set local 2021 and 02. Now click on Run tab. It will show same results which we have seen in the trial balance report. So either you can get process data using the delivered report, or you can get the report through running query in Query Manager. If you see, it's the same report, right? This way, Peoplesoft provides multiple choice to the user in delivered report, or else you can report the data in the form of query. If you want to take out the output in an Excel file, simply click on download, which will download the query result into an Excel file. You need to click on this download to Excel. If you see, there is an Excel file that has been downloaded. Now this is how our end result look like. The result output based on the field which we have selected as criteria, mind that. So it is showing new unsaved. This is because we haven't saved our query. So if you want, you can save your queries and you can run the report. So it's just a random report I ran. That's why it is without being saved. So it is showing new unsaved. Now let us see how do we import data from third-party system or day-to-day accountants do using general import. PeopleSoft provides some predefined spreadsheet templating the general data. So I am using the default credentials for PeopleSoft, and once I signed in, okay. So PeopleSoft delivered two kind of templates for importing data. Template could be based on XML link, or it can be based on integration broker. So here is an example of an XML link based import template. So the delivered template file comes with macro file as well. So if this is a template, then it has a corresponding macro file. There is another version of template XLS which is used in older systems, let's say Windows 2007 or earlier. Let's see a template correspond to my client system. So this is a template. We could do some setup before we import. For example, setup tab, we provide address, which is your URL of PeopleSoft system, and you need to change the PSC part with XML link. You could provide default for business unit, ledger group source. Usually the financials and accountant who use template for importing data, they do it for specific business unit and ledger group combinations, or particularly source type. Like here the source type is CFO. We click on OK. This message appear when we are using URL which is not secured. So you can click on yes. Now click on New button and specify a spreadsheet name. Let's say I'm mentioning as XML link. Now for journal entry sheet, enter the journal header and the journal line state. Click on it and you can see all values we enter in setup is defaulted here. Optionally, you could change the details. I'm changing the source. If you need to provide any other detail like journal reversal or exchange rate, you can enter here as click OK. In journal lines, you could enter journal line data like BU, you can enter ledger, accounts and all. Click on the plus sign to add a new row. It actually copies your previous row data. So I only change the accounts and the amount to make the journal balanced. Now click on this button, that is the green button that is used to import the journal directly. Once you click on the import icon, it will ask you for the user credentials which has access to Peoplesoft. Enter the credentials here and click on OK button. So here you see a message that journal is imported. It also create a log file which you see details of entry we imported like this. Now let us log into the application and see if this journal exists in application or not. 940 is my journal ID for business unit BOY01. Now in my application, navigate to General Ledger, Generals, Journal Entry, create and update journal entry. This is the same navigation which we used in our previous application. So I will enter my business unit here and the journal ID to find my journal. My business ID is BOY01 and I will be entering the journal ID ending with 940. I click on search. It shows that this journal must be formatted by the journal edit process before you can use it here. You can edit the journal using the batch mode. You need to navigate to General Ledger, Journal, Process Journals, Edit Journals. You can add a value and from here you can edit your journals. We'll see it later onwards. Now let us see another method. The same journal details can be imported using a flat file which is generated from same spreadsheet. So we'll go back to the spreadsheet template and click on the home icon and copy the same entry to another sheet. So I'm entering the RYT and click on copy. So this will copy to a new spreadsheet. So information is copied to journal ID. You can see a next journal ID as next, which is auto generated. So I will make little changes to journal. I have like changed the amount over here. Instead of importing, I will go back to the home and write this to a file and use same directory which I use for saving the template. You could also use another directory. You could keep a default name or change the file name. Here you have options to write multiple files, but in our case we will be writing into just one file and I will click on OK after that. Now it has generated a flat file. So if you want to open a file, you can open and see. I'm clicking on that journal underscore RYT text file. It saves the data in a form of XML. This XML can be used to import. So I will navigate to new window and traverse to general ledger, journals, import journals, and spreadsheet journals. Now this is typically done to by Peoplesoft admin who has access to this navigation, and same person can use the date retained in flat format by one or multiple users to import to system. So I will click on add a new value. I can also use an existing run control ID as well. There are few options like general, if general is already exist, or the general is invalid. So I will say abort if general is invalid, and same for if it is already existing. So I'm going to add the file which I have generated from spreadsheet. Click on upload. Now click on the file that you have created. Now upload this file. Since the file has been uploaded, I can see it here, right? I will click on run button. You can ignore these other options as these are related to the integration broker. Clicking on run. So here you see two processes. One is for integration broker template and other is for XML link based template, which is one we are testing it now. So I'll click on OK. Now I will navigate to process monitor. So it will take some time to execute. So this is going to import a similar journal which we saw when we import directly from the spreadsheet template. So the journal has been imported and the process is in success, and distribution status is also in post state. Let's check the details. Go to message log. It would say which file is used for import and how many journals are imported. Hit return. Go to view log trace. By default there is another file which will provide journal ID which is imported. Like you can see, it is with our journal ID 941. Now let us go to the system and cross check if we have any other journal with those journal ID. So we are just cross verifying. I enter my business unit BOY01 and I need to enter the journal ID to filter it. I click on search. So my journal ID is imported and I see a default message which say journal has to be edited by the journal edit process before I use it. Basically you should not edit the journals from here. You should be doing it through batch process only. I mean in the batch mode itself. So this completes the demonstration on how we get a legacy data from a third-party application using spreadsheet template in PeopleSoft. This was an example of general import basically. This is all about capturing transaction, processing the transaction, and reporting in PeopleSoft. This is a small demonstration video from latest PeopleSoft FSCM image on PeopleSoft Financial Management System. Similar to this, we have many other modules in PeopleSoft for example, like this, we have asset management, we have general ledger, we have payables, we have billing, we have purchasing, receivables. General ledger examples we have already seen, and there are many other modules. We'll be discussing all these modules in the upcoming further videos. Thank you for watching.